What's up, folks? You are tuned into The Failing Frequency. I am Ethan.
And I'm Mike.
And we like talking about Star Trek.
We do indeed. And what Trek are we talking about this week?
Oh, we got so much Trek to go through because, your boy's been out of action for a few weeks. The whole house
You've had the
got,
plague. You've had the illness.
With a series of oldie-timey, wartime illnesses. Everyone's fine, though. As fine as can be. But this week, we're going to be talking a little bit of news, not much, breeze past it, and then we're going to be discussing 3 episodes of Star Trek Discovery, and those episodes are Mirrors, Whistlespeak, and this week's episode, episode 7, Erigah.
Erigah. Thank God you took a run at pronouncing it because I'd completely forgotten.
Erigah. I couldn't not, because every time I heard it, I was like, I knew an Erigah.
What, as an actual name? Who's called
Well,
Erigah?
her name was Erica.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun times.
But before we get into that, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm surviving, mate. I'm surviving. I'm still in my
Surviving.
old days.
You're surviving. You're fucking...
Yeah.
I'm
alive and well, which is better than you're doing.
I'm fucking surviving, mate. By the fucking skin of my teeth. Hey.
Yeah.
I got everything.
Still.
Everyone else got one each. Everyone else got one each. I got them all.
Maybe you're the one who spread one thing to each of them.
No, I'm just physically like as
susceptible.
As you know,
you're a weak, sickly boy.
Yeah, as you know, I'm probably like the children have youth and vigor. My partner looks after themselves. I do not. I don't have youth, vigor, or health.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But I do have this cool new shirt that I bought on Vinted.
It is cool. It's very summer search.
Lucha
summer
Libre
shirt. Yeah.
Lucha Libre. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a very summery shirt. I can't even say summer shirt correctly. This is going to be a fucking long one.
We are British, so it got a bit sunny. So, had to go overboard and get the summer gear out.
Oh, yeah. Got to be done.
Yes.
I'm in shorts currently, so I agree.
You're a lunatic.
Yep. Yeah. That's nice. Got to enjoy it while it's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aye. Right. Quickly breeze through the news.
Yeah.
Remember the Paramount Global are selling off all of their the stuff they've got hidden away in the shed. Turns out the Skydance deal might not go through. Might do.
No.
Might not. Probably won't. Maybe will. Maybe
Probably
not.
Won't.
Who fuck knows? Who
Yeah.
the fuck knows, man? It's like we won't know what's gonna happen until it just randomly happens one day. Because as we all know, the fucking Paramount executives are all just flying by the seat of their pants. Absolutely.
Yep.
Whatever.
And they generally need removing anyway, as we say.
Yeah.
Even post-acquisition, there are so many fucking execs on Paramount side. Get rid of half of them.
Man.
Yeah.
Anyway, Pinewood Studios in Canada.
I've heard of it.
Yes. The north, up in the north, have renamed Stage 8. They've renamed it Star Trek Stage. The Star Trek Stage, in honor of Star Trek Discovery, because they've done all kinds of filming of Star Trek Discovery there. Isn't that nice?
It's nice. I mean, it's weird to name it just as the series has ended. This is the Star Trek stage where we used to shoot Star Trek.
Well, it's probably just what they've been calling it for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I think they're in Stage 8. Which stage is that? Oh, the Star Trek stage. Oh, right, yeah. And now they're not going to be filming it there anymore. They're probably going to miss them.
Wow, maybe
They're
they'll
probably
get in
gonna miss
some.
them.
They'll get in some cheap shit to replace it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably a prequel of Yellowstone, um, or a
There's already two
sequel
prequels of
to.
Yellowstones.
Uh, oh yeah,
They need Yellowstone like set in the future, like Yellowstone 2063 or something like that.
oh, I might watch
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I might watch that. It's just gonna be a show about an old millennials,
yeah,
old Gen Zers when they're like bringing back good old fashioned values of uh transgender rights in front of these fucking these young transhumanists
yeah. See,
who
I'm
don't know
thinking
how
just
to
riding
who don't
laser
want to work
horses.
anymore.
No, they ride laser horses, man.
Yeah, back
You've got to
back
bring in
in
the
my
laser
day.
horse.
Ah, you with your laser horses. Back in my day, we rode those stupid hoverboards that didn't
Yeah,
hover. But yeah, isn't that fun? Um,
yeah,
last fun little bit of news. Michelle Yeoh has been awarded the
yeah,
Presidential Medal of Freedom. Okay.
yeah.
I
Cool.
looked great, cool, awesome. Michelle Yeoh's
Mm,
amazing. Everyone loves Michelle Yeoh. I looked up what this medal is for. It's an award bestowed by decision of the President of the United States to recognize people who have made an especially meritorious contribution to the security or national interests of the United States, world peace, cultural or other significant public or private endeavors.
yeah.
And uh, Michelle
And I was
Yeoh
just
specifically was awarded it for, in Biden's words, shattering stereotypes and glass ceilings during her career to enrich and enhance the American culture.
yeah.
Yeah, which
And
is
I was
great.
just checking. She just got a Blade Runner 2049 sequel TV show, hasn't she? Coming up.
Yeah, man, I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm fucking down for that.
Yeah.
Fucking down for
Says to
that.
me
I
that
wonder.
she's released from her Star Trek obligations.
Yes,
There on.
potentially.
Yep.
Potentially, she's free to ride that laser horse into the sunset.
Yep.
Uh,
Laser unicorn.
yes.
It's yeah. There we go.
Oh yeah, because Blade Runner and
Mm,
unicorns.
yeah. And they have holographic pets or robot pets, depending
Yes.
on the book or the movie. I think.
Do the question that I believe Blade Runner 2099, I think it's called 2069, will be asking. The one thing I want to know is, will we finally get an answer to the question? Do laser unicorns dream of electric sheep?
Yeah. It's a
Do
well
androids
posed
dream of
question.
laser unicorns? I'm still not sure which of those punchlines would have been better. Those were
Both
punchlines.
work, mate. Both work.
Those were
Take your
punchlines.
choice.
Those were jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
No, they worked.
Fill your boots.
We're all laughing.
Aye. Yeah, man.
I haven't stopped. It's just internal.
Man, I'm too tired to laugh. I have a
I know.
child.
Yeah.
I have a child, and we all had scarlet fever.
Oof. And I'm already tired thinking of. I was up until like 3 a.m. last night working, and I'm thinking that I need to be up late editing all this together. I'm like, oh my god, I'm tired already.
That's why we're just gonna shot through it. We had the illness that killed Mr. Tom's wife in Goodnight, Mr. Tom.
So it was nearly goodbye, Mr. Even.
Yeah, no, because we have antibiotics now. But it's what probably would have killed me if I was born 100 years ago in childhood because of eczema.
Oh, fun.
Fun, innit? Fun.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have had such great moments as do androids dream of laser unicorns.
Yeah. We would have been the poorer as a society, missing out on that.
But that's that.
Is that the news? Done.
That's the news. Yeah, man.
Woo! Yay. Right. Then let's go on to talk about some fucking episodes. And
Yeah, man.
we didn't talk about it before, in the green room or whatever. But no spoilers for episodes 5 and 6?
Nah.
Okay,
I
cool.
don't even think there's just for the sake of
Yeah. Speeding
just
through it.
let's just no spoilers this week. Let's assume
Okay, cool.
for the sake of assuming that people have watched it.
People have watched it. Even still,
So spoiler
I'll give
warning.
my
Spoiler warning.
spoiler warning and very quick episode breakdowns. I've made these so short relatively to whatever.
I need them.
Yeah. Episode 5. Michael and Buck fly into a wormhole to a pocket dimension, following the next clue to the progenitor tech. Inside the wormhole, they find Molenlock's ship has been destroyed, but they've made it onto the ship holding the next piece of the puzzle, the ISS Enterprise. There's a standoff between the four as we flash back between Molenlock's origins and find out he's a Breen. Various struggles ensue. Lack ends up with a knife in the chest. Michael ends up with the next clue. The ISS Enterprise makes it through the wormhole with the help of Discovery, and Mar and Lack escape again. What did you think of the episode?
Eh.
Yeah. Same, really.
Well, I think we mentioned quite early on this season that we were expecting them to be using the Enterprise set at some point. And what do you know? They certainly did. I thought it was. I was a bit disappointed the second that we saw that ISS Enterprise, and I'm thinking pocket dimension. I'm thinking time doesn't necessarily have to work the same way. And following on from the story that we got sort of late last year of one of the show writers for Enterprise talking about a William Shatner return idea that they never got to make.
Yeah.
I was hoping that we would get some friggin' Paul Wesley Shipp as Tiberius Kirk, but sadly we did not.
Whatever his name as Spock. We could have had new Spock with a goatee on. Sadly not.
We know that. I think it gets mentioned in some of the DS9 Mirror Universe episodes that Spock takes over.
Deposed. Yeah.
And he takes over and then gets deposed because he's all like, let's not fucking have Mortal Kombat as an essential part of career progression. And people are like, why are you such a fucking little wuss? Yeah, like, we love a bit of Mortal Kombat. Get over yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, instead we got a pretty a neat little story of the Mirror Universe version of Saru freeing some slaves.
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Well, the breakdown of what happened to the Enterprise then, the ISS, is Spock becomes High Chancellor, tries to do reforms, there's an uprising, Mirror Saru, or they don't even call him Mirror Saru, they say a Kelpian, and then Michael goes, oh, that would be Saru. And you're like, there must be more Kelpians than just Saru. We know there are, why Saru? But never mind. He leads a squad of people who are tired of that fucking universe and whatever onto the ISS Enterprise. They flee from the Prime Universe into this pocket dimension. Then a scientist from the ship, from the Mirror Universe, leaves, works for the Federation, works for in that group of 6 scientists that discover the progenitor tech, makes their clue, hides it on the ISS Discovery in the pocket dimension, and then leaves the pocket dimension again. which seems a bit complicated to me, but I don't. I couldn't be
Super
good.
complicated.
Yeah,
It must be nice to have that option to just fuck off into another
yeah,
dimension. Must be
yeah.
nice. Screw this. I'm hopping.
Speaking of Michelle Yeoh, that's
Yeah,
a
but,
trick, isn't
oh
it?
yeah, man. Let's leave this universe.
Yeah,
Let's go do what Emperor George O did and go get a Presidential Medal of Freedom.
yeah,
Um, yeah. I think they were kind of. I think this episode was less about what was happening on the ISS,
yeah,
the ISS Enterprise, not the International Space Station.
yeah.
Um, uh,
In the mirror
and
universe, that's called the USS.
oh my god, oh whoa, and it's just full of those giant rods that someone wanted to build in space to drop down
Yeah,
on cities.
Reagan's Star Wars project, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, the story's kind of split into two bits. We've got stuff happening on the Mirror Enterprise, and we've got these flashback scenes with Maul and Lark.
yeah,
The stuff on the Enterprise is kind of meh,
yeah,
and feels like it's kept interesting by virtue of it being on the Enterprise.
yeah.
And then the Maul and Locke stuff is, I definitely get the feeling like it's supposed to be interesting.
Yeah, I thought that as well. It's supposed to be interesting. I think it kind of lives and dies on how into the reveal you are about what
Mm.
Lack is.
Yeah, and what is that reveal?
He's a Breen.
Oh, what the fuck? But those guys, they have that. What?
Yeah,
But I thought the Breen were all Princess Leia.
yeah. I wished, you know.
I don't know. How awesome would that have been if when
Yeah,
his fucking uncle took his mask off, it was Carrie Fisher.
yeah.
But
Carrie Fisher's
green.
daughter, whatever her name is.
Yeah. Oh, that
Yeah.
would have been. Oh, that would have been
Yeah.
a tip of the hat.
But they've redesigned the Breen anyway, so they look less alike
Because
the
they're
Star
cowards.
Wars ones.
Because they're cowards. They should have made it look more like Star Wars ones.
Yeah.
They should
Had it
just
have it
kept
exactly the same.
exactly the same, but bigger.
Yeah. No, just buy the prop from like a Star Wars auction and use the prop.
Just buy the replica from fucking Master Replicas or whoever sells it.
Yeah. Yeah. But what did you think of the reveal then? Were you into the Breen stuff?
Kind of interesting. Yeah, definitely an interesting direction to go. It's I was definitely kind of thrown off because I was like, wait, but the Breen, but they're goo. And then you find out, like, yeah, they are kind of goo. They have organs. They just don't have. They just have goo flesh. They've not got good flesh.
Yeah. They can solidify, but they think they're evolved into this jelly-like formula.
Yeah.
This see-through jelly.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's definitely a it's definitely cope. It's heavy cope. Like, yeah, man, we're superior because we have to have these suits.
Yeah. Have to have these coolant suits so we don't, spill out everywhere.
Or dry? Is it because they'll dry up?
I don't know. It's the trouble where in Star Trek in the past, we've been told the Breen need it really cold, and then we've been told the Breen need it really hot. And they've just got this containment suit. It's a weird one.
I think they mentioned that it's like they're a culture, so there maybe the suits all look the same, but they all have slightly different requirements. Maybe, or maybe they've got hot Breen and cold Breen.
Yeah, some like it hot, some like it cold.
Some like, hey man, maybe we've only seen the goo. We've only seen the goo Breen. Maybe there's sand Breen.
Yeah.
Maybe
That's
there's
why there are different Primarchs. There are different, pretenders to the
Primarch.
throne. I know.
Primarch.
That's the name of the head breen. There are
Oh
a couple
man.
of different Primarchs, and I'm just like, do they know what they like? Do the US have Primarch? Because
No, I don't think they do. They don't. They don't have £1 T-shirts. That's the problem
yeah,
with Breen Society. That's the problem with Breen Society. They've got it too good.
yeah.
It's too easy to just get a £1 T-shirt.
Mm. And it's
That's a
only
reference to Years and Years by Russell T Davies.
yeah. And it's only child labor that are making those T-shirts in the first place. So we know the
Yeah,
Breen
man.
are evil.
Breen evil bastards.
Yeah.
I don't own anything by Primark. Well, nothing that I bought directly from it. I've bought loads of Primark shit from charity shops in the past.
Yeah, probably at a higher price than it was originally.
No, I'm from Yorkshire.
Uh,
I check.
yeah. For me, the trouble is the Breen are like, it's one of those things where having something locked away or a secret is always more interesting than having it revealed. A magic trick where you don't know how the
Yeah.
magic is done is more interesting than someone saying, "Oh, and I just did this." So having the Breen reveal, I'm just like, okay, and you go, "Oh, interesting," and then you go, "Never mind."
Yeah. See, I agree. I was a fan of the conflicting reports. Like, I saw
Yeah.
a TikTok video not that long ago where someone was talking about the Breen, and they were saying, like, not a lot is known about the Breen, and what we do know about the Breen is kind of confusing. I liked that there was conflicting explanations for
Yeah.
Breen stuff. It added to the mystery. And yeah, revealing that the Breen, revealing too much about the Breen. Yeah,
It's dangerous, isn't it? Really, in what keeps it interesting or what keeps them interesting as a race, because you have to fill that gap then with a culture or something like that, rather than them all wearing identical uniforms and all that. They need to have something behind them that is interesting now, which I don't feel like we've got so far, including episode just gone. So
Yep.
yeah,
What did you think of the portal to the pocket dimension? What was it? What did you immediately think when you saw that?
Let's say it looks organic.
It looked like a giant winking sphincter in deep space.
Yeah.
Me and my fucking. We had to pause it. We had to pause it. It was so. And then Michael Burnham. They're talking about it like, it's super. It's like really unstable. Yeah. It's a really unstable fucking hole. It's just like, yeah, I've been there, mate. I've been there. And then Michael Burnham's like, oh, tell me there's a butt in there. And it's like, oh, there's a butt.
There's a butt.
A butthole.
And then when they're like widening it out at the end, they're like, we need to make it wide somehow. We need to stretch out this sphincter.
We need to get this fucking pocket dimension some poppers.
Yeah.
Amazing. At no point did anyone in the production go, do you think this kind of looks a bit like a butthole?
Yeah.
It's space. Yeah. Lots of things look like things. There's a nebula that looks like a hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a butt. Yeah.
Yeah, man. The butthole wormhole is right up there with the hand of God and the horseshoe crab nebula and the fucking whatever.
What's crazy nebula? Anyway?
What am I thinking of? Whatever.
The horse head, I think.
Horsehead nebula. Horseshoe crab.
Horseshoe crab. What's crazy anyway is there's two things crazy about bringing the ISS Enterprise into the main universe. when it's in a pocket dimension, you know how Emperor Giorgio had to leave because she was from the mirror universe and she was way out of time, so it was like fucking up all her cells and stuff like that. You can explain the ISS Enterprise not doing that because it's in a pocket dimension. But you've brought it into the real dimension now, so surely that's going to be like, fucking up as well.
Yeah, well, yeah. Is it just organic matter then, or is it?
Who the fuck knows? But then, even more annoying, earlier in the season, we set up a Chekhov's gun in that bloody Reese says, twice that he's obsessed with the Connie. And he's like, oh, the curves. Look at those fucking curves.
Oh, I love it.
And then when it comes down to it, they go like, oh, we need someone to take the ISS Enterprise back to base. Not you, Reese. Detmer and Owo.
Yeah, Detmer and Owo can deal with it. Yeah.
He's just in the back
maybe he's gonna captain in a final showdown type situation.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe.
But it seems so. If they don't, and it doesn't look like they are at the moment. What a cruel thing to do to a guy where he's just like, oh, that's my favorite ship in the world, and then be like, wow, this relic from 800 years ago. You can't go anywhere fucking near it, mate.
Yeah, in perfect working condition. You could just drive this baby right off the lot. Now back to work.
That's amazingly all I had to talk about for this episode, though. The having absolutely fuck all per episode at the moment. Do you have anything more on mirrors?
Oh yes. The Enterprise, the ISS Enterprise, when shit starts going down and they start trying to move the ship, I did like the fact that perfectly in line with classic 23rd century starship engineering, all the fucking consoles start going fucking haywire. You got to be careful of those 23rd century consoles full of fireworks. You got to be careful, man. If Reese was there, he'd have warned them. He'd have been like, "Oh, these, you got to be careful. These consoles are notorious for being packed full of hidden fireworks."
Yeah, I just imagine on the production side, the Strange New Worlds crew, like coming in to film, and they've just left the debris from all the exploded consoles, the Discovery lot. They've been like, we blew up your ship. Fuck you guys.
Like, I was thinking that because, like, that set is so white. And that is the most fucked up we have seen that set so far. It's like the production of it is like, how do we make this look as fucked up as possible without absolutely fucking destroying everything?
Yeah. No. Poor ship. Poor sets. Poor cleaners of that set.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah. Should we go on to the next episode, though? Episode 6. Right.
Yes.
Episode 6, Whistlespeak. The Discovery makes it to the location given by the last clue, a planet with weather towers that's keeping a pre-warp society alive. Michael and Tilly beam down disguised as the society to get to the weather tower and find out there's a pilgrimage going on towards it. And if they participate and win a foot race, they'll gain entry. The foot race makes its participants really thirsty and then makes them run past bowls of water. Michael goes off to fix the weather planet control tower and leaving Tilly and a village shaman's daughter to win the race. Tilly and the daughter get into the tower, but it's a fucking obvious thing that they're going to kill them. Michael has to reveal herself and the mission to the shaman and letting them know that it's not a sacrifice to their gods, it's just going to kill them because it's a faulty sprinkler system, pretty much. He helps Michael save his daughter, and Tilly has found the next clue to the progenitor tech.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Solid. Honestly, solid episode.
Yeah, I thought reasonably
Solid.
solid, but there's not much to it, and it's
No.
a. I think it's a bit dull, but it is a solid episode. Like,
It's I'd say because I wouldn't say it was dull. I would say it was of all the episodes, including this week's, um, it's probably the most interesting episode because like
yeah,
I'm not necessarily always watching Star Trek to get excited.
yeah,
I'm watching
it's
Star
not
Trek
shooty or
because
it's not.
yeah, it's interesting. It had this episode had themes. It had themes about spirituality
Yeah,
and awakening and allowing beliefs to evolve
yeah,
with with receiving new information, not and not sort of doubling down on dogma, learning to incorporate new information into pre-existing beliefs and allowing that belief to evolve. I love this episode.
yeah,
Yeah, my favorite
yeah,
episode of this season so far. It felt most like an episode of Star Trek.
yeah.
You
And
know?
and when I say dull, I think a lot of Star Trek Enterprise is dull. But I
Mm.
like Star Trek Enterprise. You know, where they just go down to a planet and they run around on the grass for a while and they're like, wow, plants occasionally. There's at least two
They
episodes of
do.
Star Trek Enterprise that they do exactly that.
Yep.
They're dull, but they're interesting. And that's where I found this one is interesting because it doesn't need, there's no guns fired. There's barely that much crying in a corridor, or there's no crying in a corridor sort of stuff. There's one or
No, no.
two more emotional
There's,
bits.
they're too dry.
Yeah,
They're too dry.
but Hugh
They're
could have has like is getting in touch with his faith and emotions as well, and he's wet as can be.
yeah, man. Well, that's emotion sphere. That's
Yeah,
spirituality. Getting in touch with your spirituality side. That he's wet. Next thing he'll be talking in tongues. What did you think of the AI replication of his grandma?
I mean, it's a bit weird that this season is queuing
Bit
up
weird.
two ways of like bringing people back from the dead, if you know what I mean, or having
Yeah.
their spirit continue. Because there's already the progenitor tech, which they've said could bring someone back to back to life. Another Chekhov's gun that will get used. And then there's she acts exactly like my grandma acts, and it's
How?
like, yeah,
How? She's been dead for 800 years. How?
yeah. And I'm like, did they scan his mind to take out every memory of his grandma? Because you can't enter that in. You can't be like, oh, and if I ask this question, she'll say this. That's too much information to build a hologram from. So, yeah, a
I don't
bit
know. Maybe
weird.
they watched Watchmen, where like part of the not Watchmen, Westworld,
Yeah,
where like part of the whole thing of allowing the hosts in Westworld to become sentient is to not overload them
yeah,
with brains,
mm,
and that like humans actually are simpler than we think, and that creating a sentient being isn't as difficult as we're
yeah.
making it out to be.
I know I'm
But
simple
I
as
mean,
hell.
yeah, man, I'm easy.
Yeah.
I'm easy. I just want 10 minutes and some sorbet. That's all I need. 10 minutes. Give me
That's all
10
you
minutes.
need. Yeah,
10 minutes and
yeah.
some sorbet, and I'm happy.
It's fair enough. Fair enough. But it's weird pulling all her memories out somehow.
Yeah.
Creating a being, fine. Let's say you can do that. But it's also the second time the show has created a being that might as well be is an AI pretty much out of
Mhm.
someone's memories or out of someone having a capture in someone through
Mhm.
Grey
Mhm.
being stored in Adira,
Yeah.
just shuffled
Like
away
if
and then printed off.
yeah, man. If her if the AI grandma is that good, can
Yeah,
is that what the progenitor tech is going to be doing? It's going to be like it's going to allow them to implant an AI replicant,
yeah.
like Blade Runner
Laser
2069 starring
unicorns.
Michelle Yeoh. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Um
In whatever
like
it is, 2280 or whatever Discovery is set, they're going to have real, laser unicorns then.
oh my god. They could make them with programmable matter.
Yeah.
Um yeah, it's a weird thing, especially in in this brave new
Mm.
world we're living in with AI
Yeah.
and people talking about how AI is stealing the soul out of art.
Mm.
Interesting idea of talking about trying to use AI to bring
Yeah.
back a soul from the dead.
Well, and if you want to relate it to nowadays, there are already services, I think, that keep a social
What
media presence.
waifu AI waifu services?
Well, yeah, they keep it going once someone has died. They pretty much feed
Oh,
in all the old tweets or old posts or whatever, and then go, okay, what would this person think about this? And to me, that's a bit like, ugh,
that's
shiver
really
down the
gross.
spine. It's kind of dirty,
That's
and
worse. That's worse than the AI waifus for lonely otaku thing.
yeah, yeah,
That's worse.
mm,
Um, yeah. Ugh.
yeah, ugh, ugh, yeah.
But it's
Um,
an interesting element to introduce in an episode that is so much about spirituality to have Culber having this kind of spiritual awakening and to look for uh spiritual counsel from a soulless
yeah,
um affront to God.
yeah,
uh
yes.
essentially like
I'm
um
I'm I'm not going to disagree that I just kept on thinking when he was doing it. I was like, I know you're kind of like the de facto counselor now, but you should
hmm,
talk to someone. You should talk to a different counselor. The Federation has got to have more than you as the counselor.
nah, nah.
Yeah,
Counselors are supposed to go to counseling.
yeah. Because they
Counselors are
hear
supposed to
some
go to
weird
counseling.
shit, they
Yeah,
they have to absorb everyone else's problems. So
yeah.
mm,
Um, but he does seek some outside counsel. He talks to his husband, who like when
yeah,
he brings up these ideas of spiritual awakening, is like just like not necessarily like shot down, but definitely not what's the word?
he doesn't
Uh
get it, does he?
Not
Yeah,
validated in any
yeah,
way. He's definitely not. But he's like, oh well, that's nice. Have fun with it. Have
yeah.
fun with it. Have fun with your spiritual awakening.
And what's
Uh,
weird is that's the second time they've done the Stamets not fully understanding the spiritual journey around Hugh and death. Because
nope.
let's remember that he died. He is a mushroom clone of himself.
Yeah, yeah. He experienced death, um, and then he experienced ego death. He
Yeah.
he like he's full on like fucking Aldous Huxley in this mofo, and
Mm-hmm.
Stamets is just like
Nice.
cool,
Yeah.
cool beans,
Yeah.
man, cool beans. Um,
So
yeah,
weird.
he's so science. He's just so
Yeah.
science.
To me, I think this episode would probably be much better if Hugh was the one, Culber was the one on the planet doing the foot race as well.
Mm,
because I know they're like parallel stories, and it's one moving into spirituality and one to a degree moving away from spirituality. But I think if you used him, you could try and meet in the middle. And from outside the story, I think it's probably unwise or to a degree cruel on Mary Wiseman to have Tilly doing the foot race. From I'm really trying not to be
Oh
mean.
my god!
No. Let me go through it. Let me go through. From a production standpoint, I know if I was a bigger person, I probably want to be the person having to run around all day in heavy clothes, because they look like fairly heavy clothes as well.
Yeah.
And outside the production as well, all it does is invite comments from people who are going to be cruel online to her.
Yeah. Mary Wiseman seems like a friggin' a tough cookie. You know?
But she's gone through in the past. She had that time of deleting her Twitter because there was a lot of horrible specky.
Yeah, there was a lot of body shaming going on. Yeah, there was a lot of body shaming going on.
And I think it's a bit. It doesn't set her up. It doesn't set her up to. It only sets her up to get those sorts of comments again. So I think it's somewhat cruel doing that to her, being like, we need a character to do a foot race. Let's get the person who has had far too many comments on their body from people and has retreated from social media because of that to do that. I think that's a bit cruel on the production side.
Yeah, I mean, certainly. That's definitely an element to think about. But I think, for the sake of
I want to say,
art,
I'm very aware that I'm feeding into that by saying I think it's cruel for it.
I mean, it's, to be honest, it's kind of hard to not notice. It's hard to not notice, but I think it's one of those things where it's like the art. The art has to take precedent over it, and story-wise, you've got Tilly, who is taking on this mentor role, and needs to Tilly's taking on this mentor role with Adira and in general kind of to set up Star Trek Academy.
Yeah.
You've got this character who needs some guidance. A younger character who needs some guidance.
Yeah.
There's only really that's a storyline for Tilly. You gotta suffer for your art. You gotta, Mary Wiseman's a theater. She's a theater kid. She's learned to suffer for her art.
And if so, people who, I don't have a problem with her, Tilly, the character being able to run, 40 marathons one after another, because we're in the future, and if you can get your head around a transporter existing but not, someone running, then there's probably, you need to somewhat evaluate, what what you have as, what you can take in as fiction and not.
But and also it's Tilly. We know that's a thing that Tilly does. Tilly has set her mind to something.
Yeah.
Tilly's going to accomplish it. That's the charm of Lieutenant Tilly. She gets shit done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
So we had the shaman.
I didn't think. Well, before we move off the pilgrimage, whatever. Oh no, let's do
Mm.
the shaman first. Why not?
Yeah. So we talk about Kulber having his spiritual awakening, him doing some science first, and trying to he is a scientist, he's a doctor, he's got these and he's having these spiritual ideation happening, and uh he's got to factor that in with living in a 31st century world where they have all kinds of crazy science and shit going on. And then you have the flip side of that coin with the shaman who's suddenly had this whole new world opened up to him, and he's got to figure out how to factor in all of what he's just learned with his with his spiritual beliefs, and he's the spiritual leader. I think the first thing that he needs to do is the actual thing in the mountain. Does it still work?
It was breaking, and that's why Michael had to go away and change some crystals.
Right.
But
it
now
still
it
works
is
occasionally.
fixed. Yeah.
So, did they have to sacrifice people? I don't think they did.
No.
So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing. It's just at the end of the race.
Yeah.
Just don't put them in. Don't put them in. Just you okay, flip the switch. All right, now come out.
Yeah.
It's fine. Or, and this is what I was thinking.
Keep sacrificing people.
Don't keep sacrificing people. Like, right? This is what I was thinking. Because, it's talking about, like, the misconstrued things. Ancient technology, becoming spiritual beliefs in a pre-warp, ancient pre-warp society. They keep doing the foot race. They keep sending people off, but instead of locking them in the chamber, they keep them in the mountain. They learn to work on do the computers, do the doobly-doos. They keep adding to it. Not believers, secret society. They go back in a couple hundred years and they go, oh shit, we accidentally cooked an Illuminati.
Maybe. They did say to them, "You guys need to learn how to fix this tech, and we'll have someone from the Federation come and teach you." What is crazy mental to me is through the episode we discover this tower, this sprinkler system that's in the center of the inhabitable part of this planet, is only one of 5, and in the other ones they've broken over time, just like this one is breaking. So that made that part of the planet not inhabitable anymore. So when the Discovery fixes this one and stops it breaking, they go, oh, but the princess is actually in another tower. The clue that we're after is in Tower 4 and we're in Tower 5 or something like that. So they go to that other tower. They don't fix it at all. No. When you see them warp away at the end or spore jump away at the end, they haven't fixed it. So this planet, they're locking people into this, only inhabitable part of the planet and going like, job done, mate.
Yeah, man.
Off to save the day somewhere else.
Once they figure out how to fix that one, I'm sure they'll work something out.
Well, they'd have to get to the tower. They can't get to the fucking tower.
They'll figure it out. They'll wrap up. They'll put a bunch of scarves on. I thought it was interesting that Michael reveals to them, like, we're not gods. We're not gods. We're just people like you. And then shortly after telling them that they are not gods, magically, they then Michael then magically conjures Hugh Culber,
Yeah.
and that man's
Incredibly
there.
handsome man out of thin
Just be
air.
like, I thought you said you weren't gods. That's
Look at this man.
I know a god when I see one.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Look
a
at his
god.
fucking abs. Look at his
Look at
chest,
him.
man.
He's like,
Yeah.
poor man must be so confused.
He couldn't be anything but a god. Yeah.
But yeah, interesting,
Yeah,
interesting episode. Themes,
yeah.
themes,
Ve-
discussion, people talking about ideas.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it felt a fair bit like a TOS, like there's Landrew or something like that, a machine in a thing that we all pray to, and it's telling us to kill each other and stuff like that. It felt a bit like that. So yeah, it's. I haven't rewatched episodes 1 and 2 since we did them, but they were strong episodes. I think this is a strong episode as well.
Yeah, it also reminded me a bit of probably one of the best episodes of Strange New Worlds, Lift Us Up Where Suffering Cannot Reach.
Yeah. Cloud planets kill a kid every once in a while. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
At least that planet needed the kid to be killed. This one didn't.
Yeah, that planet needed it. Yeah, this one didn't. This is just like, and also like somewhat like, I don't know. Is it more or less gruesome to suffocate them and then pump them full of poisonous gas?
Or use them as a computer or whatever
Yeah.
Cloud one did. What I thought was a bit silly in this one was at the, Tilly, Michael, and this kid sign up for this foot race. And the foot race, I think, is real low shit production. It's just a couple of bowls bought from IKEA or whatever.
It reminded me a bit
the side of a
of
path.
I don't know why, but when I was watching it, it's just reminded me of Hercules. Just
Yeah.
the set, the costumes, the fact that they're doing a foot race. I was like, this feels like an episode of Hercules.
A real cheap episode this one is.
Yeah.
But they sign up for it, and the shaman is just like to his daughter, "No, you fucking idiot, don't do it." He's like shaking her, being like, "No, I don't want you to do it." And then Michael talks to this old woman, and the old woman goes like, my friend won the foot race once. I miss her. And no one goes like, Michael doesn't go like, what do you mean you miss her? Is she dead because you're old, or is she dead because at the end of the foot race there's a massive cliff or something like that?
Yeah. Isn't Michael an anthropologist? Shouldn't she?
Yeah.
Shouldn't she be like clued into stuff like this?
Yeah. I just thought that old woman was hilarious because it boils down to her going like, as I say, she goes, my friend, she won and she was so happy, and then I never saw her again. But good luck.
Yeah. Do you want to do the race? Oh no, I'm not fucking stupid. But
I don't think you want to do it as well,
you go ahead.
Yeah. Crazy, I thought. Yeah.
But yeah,
yeah,
good
that's
episode.
kind of all I had for that episode.
Solid 7.5 to between 7.5 and 8, I'd say, of this season.
Yeah. Good solid episode. Then we are episode 7, this week's one, which was called, remind me the pronunciation again?
Hand soap. Oh no, that's my
Erigah. Erigah, which just means
Breen
the blood bounty
jihad.
or something like that. Yeah. So Morn Lack have been captured by the Federation, but the Breen want Lack back. They're locked up in sickbay because Lack is. They're lacked up.
They want Lack back because they're locked up in the flick black blick bloop bleep bleep.
They want Lack back because they're locked up in sickbay because Lack is ill or still reeling from the knife in the stomach he got 2 episodes before. He's lacking. They kind of are lacking in story, these guys.
In many ways.
Michael, President Trina, which we'll come back to, and Admiral Vance are all going to try and negotiate with the Breen Primarch, who wants Lack back to establish his right to the Breen throne. But the Federation can't give him back for the risk they'll guide them to the progenitor tech. Mo and Lack stage a breakout and try to escape, but the play dead routine actually kills Lack. Mo agrees to go with the Breen to help them get to the progenitor tech on the chance that she can bring him back to life.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely an improvement on some of the earlier episodes in terms of like the whole fetch quest that this season is.
Yeah.
I swear to God, man, I'm getting fucking sick of hearing the word clue.
Yeah.
I think it's really hokey. I think it's really hokey,
Yeah.
corny, and like basic.
All. Yeah.
We gotta find
It's
the clue.
the clue.
This is
The
what
clue.
is this fucking Scooby Doo?
Yeah.
This is Blue's Clues.
It's a bit. It's a bit silly, really.
It's a very silly.
Yeah. See, I maybe wasn't as keen on this episode. I thought this was a fairly boring episode.
Oh yeah,
There's not much to it. That description is just the Breen come, they try and negotiate. Lack manages to kill himself because he's a fucking dunce.
I know, that was so funny.
I mean, they set up 2 episodes earlier. The reason why he's doing the cargo base stuff is because he's like, didn't he dunce out of whatever role he was doing before that?
Yeah, he's just
And
like,
it's just like, this guy is just the
I don't want to
worst.
do it. He's just
Yeah.
he's a bit fucking like, I'll fucking like
Yeah,
I'll take way too much of the drugs,
yeah,
and then you come get me, and then he takes way too much of the drugs, and it's actually way too much of the drugs.
yeah. It's
Like,
kind of like
fuck's sake.
Spock does it, and it's like a Batman thing as well of like, oh, I've slowed my heart so much that they think I'm dead, so they run in, and that gives me a chance to escape. It's kind of like the opposite of that, where it's like, right, I'll stab myself in the heart, which will make them run in,
Yeah, I'll fucking shoot
and I'll
myself
use
in the
that
head,
chance to
and
escape.
then yeah, fucking
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, man.
So
Batman,
fucking
he
dumb.
ain't.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I also thought anything that happened with the like a lot of the promos for this episode are, oh, it's Reno, and that Reno's helping work on this clue and stuff like that. And anything to do with Reno and the clue, again, I'm saying clue all the time. Anything to do with Reno and the next piece of the puzzle, and Stamets being a bit of a whiny bitch, I thought was just stupid. Where it's just like they're going like, Beta Z. What does Beta Z have to do with anything? And there are apparently no Betazoids around anymore that they could just ask.
Yeah.
So the team splits up and they get Book to go, what does this remind me of? Or let me try and psychically connect to it. And he goes like, ooh, Plasma Storm. Cool.
That we need to find this book. There's hardly any copies of this book that was apparently made in the 24th century.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but books made today are all digitized.
Yeah.
Like, how are they having to find a physical copy of a book that was made by an advanced alien species in the 24th century? That's mental.
And it's not only mental for that. I think Discovery as a whole, kind of like this season and probably last season, has somewhat ditched the concept that these people are from 800 years ago. So, including Reno. So, when it comes to, we need someone to help us find this book, who can do that? And they go, Reno. She used to deal in old books.
800
She
fucking years ago.
Yeah. And then Reno goes, well, it might be on this archive that travels around the universe. And again, I'm going, it travelled around the universe 800 years ago. Since then, there must have been numerous conflicts. There was the burn that blew up at least 50% of ships anyway and ruined travel around the universe. So, what was it doing during the burn? Nothing. What's the point in having this travelling archive if no one can travel to it? I'm just like. And then
the
Reno.
Library of Alexandria.
Yeah.
The biggest library in Earth's history. Well, in antiquity.
Yeah.
Was around for 300 years.
Yeah.
Before being
That's
destroyed
less
by
than
the
300
Mongols.
years. Yeah.
And those are the Mongols.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about a universe in which the
they didn't
Klingons
even have laser
exist.
horses. Yeah.
The Klingons are laser horses. Like, we're talking about a fucking world where the Breen and Klingons and the Borg exist. Like, as if this is the thing.
Yeah. And not only that, they annoyed me, and it's a weird throwaway one. And you can try and explain it. Well, it's easy enough to explain away, but as Reno's reeling off information, I did odd jobs here and there. I was a bartender. You should try my 7 of limes, and it's like, no. And you could have learned that after you got to the future, maybe, but that requires in the future for 7 of 9 to still be incredibly famous. Because you couldn't learn it in the past, because in the past you're 150 years before he existed.
It's what do you mean 7 of limes?
Yeah.
What do you can't be referencing 7 of 9. So what is that a drink a reference to?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
It's maddening. It's maddening. It's yeah. The only way I tried to explain it, and I was just like, I guess we still call sandwiches, and that was named after the Earl of Sandwich. And you're just like, okay, but 7 of 9, was she that important, whatever, that she made a drink that people still drink 800 years in the future or 700 years in the future?
And
it's
what
just
is that
silly.
drink? Why has it got limes in it? That's the thing. As a bartender, as a former bartender, I tended bar for 15 years. The drink has to make thematic sense. It can't just be the name of the drink. It's got to make sense.
Yeah.
When I invented the invisible Manhattan, right?
Yeah.
It was because there was ghost whiskey, which was clear.
Yeah.
Martini Bianco, which is again a very clear vermouth.
Yeah. Mm.
And citrus bitters, which have little to no color. So it was a Manhattan. It looked like a Manhattan. It tasted like a Manhattan, but it was clear. Invisible Manhattan.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like they're pulling from stuff that the characters should barely know if it exists anymore, and B, from stuff where they're just like, these characters now know everything that's happened in the last 800 years when it's convenient for them, or when it's a nice thing to drop in. And that kind of annoys me, where it's like, surely the strength of the characters being 800 years out of the past is they have different ideals as well. They have an ideal of what the Federation is and how to approach these things like the diplomacy with the Breen. And then they can get information like Michael did from Rayner about, his history with the Breen and whatever. But you have to approach it where these characters have something to bring to the table other than them being there.
Yeah. And like that's the
Yeah.
thing, like, in the past couple of seasons that was more evident because, Discovery is set during sort of the pioneer times of space exploration, and then
Yeah.
they come back to the Mad Max times of space exploration and kind of have to do well, this is what we used to do when we were in your situation. But
Yeah.
now everything's kind of everyone's a bit more connected now, and it's like they fully caught up to the point of no longer having existed in the past, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when it comes to it as well, the dilithium shortage must have affected the Breen as well. In fact, we're even told 2 episodes before it affected the Breen. But the Federation isn't trading the one planet that they know has dilithium on, which has now sorted that galaxy-wide problem with the Breen because they're somewhat standoffish enemies. But the Breen are just now somewhat... They seem to be cured of that dilithium shortage, so they can just roll in with the biggest ship in the fucking world.
Oh yeah, that was some fucking
Yeah.
that's a cool ship. That's a big old boy.
It's very, to me, even the shots of it where you get the lined up Federation ships versus it. The Cleaver ship, the Klingon Cleaver ship from season 1.
Yeah, but bigger and like
Yeah.
bulkier, bulbous.
Yeah.
I thought it was so funny when the backup came and they were like, just in time, and then they go flip, 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 and it's just like still just like a couple of guys against this mass fuck up thing. It's like, yeah, mate, that'll do it.
Good luck. Yeah.
Like,
Have a go, heroes here. Yeah.
Yeah, mate. I was like expecting, maybe just from watching like Lower Decks, like I just thought it'd be so funny if one of those ships just peeled off.
Yeah.
She's like,
goodbye.
Maybe not. Like,
Yeah. Like you could park the starbase, the Federation starbase, in the hangar of that big ship easily.
yeah.
And it's just like,
Fuck.
it's just mad.
But I did like that ship. That was a cool ass fucking ship.
Yeah. But it made me think after Locke dies. I'm tired of the names, by the way, because I have to say Locke and Mole far too often in the descriptions as well. After he dies, they've got this massive fuck off ship that could easily wipe them out by the look of it. They still need to collect the couple of clues from Discovery. So why aren't they... What's the point? They're leaving behind 3 pieces of the key to get the progenitor's tech behind and going like, goodbye, farewell, we'll get this before you do. But you can't get it if you don't have the things. What's the point of this?
Fucking thick. They're all
Yeah.
fucking knobheads. They're all knobheads.
They've been thick throughout it, really.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just a race to collect them. And the Federation now should be like, we need a way to destroy this key if it comes to it. Because if it's a choice of the Breen getting it, the Breen beating us, or us destroying the key to this galaxy-changing tech that they'd get their hands on, and they'd be able to wipe out every civilization other than Breen, you probably should be set to destroy that key.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, you're just running around with a library card like, where does this go? Ooh.
Oh, it's a library card. It's a library card.
Yeah.
It's a library card. It's a 24th century library card for physical books. Meanwhile, we're here in 2024. I have a digital library card so that I can book out digital copies of audiobooks from my local library.
Yeah. Well, we don't know if this book is available on Audible. Maybe that's stored in the archive.
They didn't even float that idea.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing if Reno just turns around and she's just like with a toothpick. Does she have a toothpick? I always picture her with a toothpick.
I think she has last season.
Have you checked if there's an audiobook version?
Yeah.
And they just look it up and immediately, oh, yeah.
So crazy. So crazy. Yeah. So tired. Yeah.
We got Nan. Nan.
Yay! I love
Nan.
her and her bread.
Yeah, man. I love Nan. Love Nan bread.
Yeah.
I love Laan. All security officers should all rhyme.
A's.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Serving the classic Star Trek security officer role of being there to get beaten up to imply just how hard the other person is. It's like, well, if they beat up Nan, they must be fucking tough.
They must be good at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also got Trina, and in the episode they say President whatever her name is, like Rillick or something like that. The half Cardassian, half Bajoran one. Couldn't be here today. She's off doing other diplomatic stuff. So she's made me stand in for her.
Well,
and then people start calling.
She's president of Navarre. I know you, because I had a similar thought. I was like, then sure, like, I think they're getting captain and president confused for a second because they're like, they don't do acting presidents. Do they?
I was like, that's not how presidents work. You know, captains, as you say, if you give the ship to someone, they're a captain. You know.
Yeah.
But you don't just wander away and they're like, this person's the president now.
Yeah, I had the same thing because I was like, is she the president now? And my partner was like, no.
Okay. Fine. That explains Ethan. It away well then.
Yeah. No, because I had the same confusion. There's definitely like I feel like a lot of this is part of the reshoots because she looks different.
Yeah.
She looked different. She looked.
But how what would you do before
my partner gave me a very weird look when I called her a gilf.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine it's a reshoot because the story requires her so much. I think it's
a lot of the reshoots were just like, how can we take these two scenes and make them one?
But apparently, there's I read, and maybe I can try and find the article again. The reshoots only appear within the first final two episodes or something like that.
Yeah.
Everything else is as shot.
Maybe.
But I did think it was weird as well. Like, this season just seems to be dropping people who you'd think that would appear sometime. So Saru left the ship to try and make babies with Trina and get married, get hitched. And, we think he's probably going to die. Hasn't come back since he left.
At this point, I saw a thing saying that at this point during the filming, he was on tour promoting Hocus Pocus 2, which he was in.
Okay. Well, good for him. But the president also couldn't be bothered appearing in this episode. Detmer and Owo haven't been in.
Thanks a lot, Joe Biden.
Fucking Joe Biden.
Joseph Hussein Biden.
Yeah. Detmer and Owo haven't been in the last 3 episodes. There's another bridge crew member that hasn't been in the last 4 episodes.
But some other fuckers have.
They've got replacements now.
Yeah, these other people are all up in it.
Yeah, Reese is the only one I think that is a holdover. He didn't get to fly the fucking ship.
Yeah, no, everyone else gets to go do other stuff. You stay there, but I want to fly the ship. That's why you're staying.
It's so harsh that from an actor point of view, by the sounds of it, everyone else had other work that they could be doing. So, like, as you say, Saru guy was off promoting Hocus Pocus. Detmer and Owo, I think, are on different shows at the moment, or whatever. And then this guy, doesn't get what his character needs to fly the ship, and also doesn't have another job to go off to. It's like, I'm stuck here. Keep paying me.
Yeah, maybe he's chill. Maybe the actor is
Yeah.
just like, I'll stay on the bridge. I just need 10 minutes and some sorbet.
Yeah.
Owo and Detmer
Yeah.
can go off and scissor on the Enterprise.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine here at the tactical station. He
True.
doesn't have
True,
the vibe of a tactical officer.
No. He's a bit soft,
know what I
isn't he,
mean?
really? He's a bit,
He's very smooth looking.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And he's never involved when it is like they bring in someone like Non when it's like, oh, we need to look after this prisoner. And he's so
Yeah.
far away from that. It's just like, can you imagine doing any fist fighting? That
well,
guy
he's just
versus.
that's the thing. He's just tactical. He's tactical. He's not security,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
like very rarely does Star Trek distinguish the two. But I like
Yeah.
it when they do.
Mm.
You know, like when they would have Worf on the tactical station and Tasha doing security, like separately. Like that makes sense to me. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose.
Yeah.
I suppose. But yeah, I thought this, I didn't think it was as good as last episode, even if it is more, it's driving the story. I think just where it drives it is a bit,
Yeah. It is interesting, I think, like, with this episode, we get the sort of big reveal. Not so much big reveal. Well, we do get a big reveal that, that Locke is a fucking Breen prince.
Yeah.
Which explains some of why he's a bit of a dumbass.
Yeah.
I think.
But-
He's a fucking nepo baby. He's a Breen nepo baby. And he's just a bit of a dumbass.
At the same
but
time, his uncle, the Primarch, Prime Arnie, has sent him down to do like a shit job. And if you were the prince, you'd be like, I tell you what, mate, no. Otherwise, I won't. Like, if you want the chance of being endorsed to be, I don't know, emperor or whatever, I'll have a sweet job, please. Or I'll go off with Maul. I'll endorse you and then fuck off.
He probably did. He probably did whinge a bit. Probably did.
Yeah. Well, he's a whinger,
Probably,
isn't he?
to be honest, that's probably why his uncle put him there. He's like, listen, I'm putting you in this fucking shit job so you can learn a fucking hard day's graft.
Yeah. How about you solidify your fucking ass?
Yeah. Fucking,
Yeah.
and then, but it's the sort of gradual reveal that, like, the Breen are the kind of the big bad of this season. Like, we start off the season thinking that these two fucking idiots are the main antagonists, but it turns out they're just idiots.
I mean, it'll still probably end
galaxy
with
on the seat of their pants.
Yeah.
But,
it'll still
Breen-
probably end up with Buck having to talk down Maul.
Yeah.
She'll want to bring back Lack or whatever, and maybe it's talking her down and saying, if you bring him back, you release this tech and it'll wipe out so much of the universe, and we can't do that. Maul, you have to accept death. I accepted all my planet and your father dying and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And Hugh will come in like, you don't understand it. Maybe it's not the end. And then
Maybe there's
yeah. And then Michael will cry, and then Tilly will give her
kissy
a pep talk.
kissies.
Yeah,
Kissy kissies with Buck.
Michael will do kissy kissies. Tilly will give her a pep talk.
Yeah.
And Reno will
Not appear.
Pop a Reno will pop a chewing gum bubble in the corner and be like, that happened. But the fact that the Breen are shaping up to be the kind of the main sort of like antagonist of the season, I think is kind of interesting. I'm interested to see where this goes in the next. God, we've got 3 episodes left. 3 episodes.
Oof. At the rate we record, that's one extra podcast from us, or one extra recording from us.
Hey.
Yeah.
So we got what are these episodes called? Labyrinths. Lagrange point. That's a cosmological term. And Life Itself, the long-awaited sequel to Love Actually. Yes.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, I can't say I'm as infused with this season so far as last season. No. So
these next few episodes have really got to fucking I've really got to
they've got to pull out all the stops and
pull out the stops and wrap everything up, but good. Star Trek, when it knows the end is coming, kind of has not always, but more often than not, managed to kind of make a point of really going out with a bang. The last few episodes of the last season of Next Generation doesn't always feel like a final season, but that last episode very much does. The last season of Deep Space Nine, knew that it was the last season, and you can fucking tell because they're just like, fucking, let's fucking go.
Yeah. But the trouble Voyager, is, this wasn't written as a last season.
No, it wasn't. So
this is like the same that happened with Enterprise, where they wrote most of the season and then they were told, actually, what we're going to do is cancel you now.
Oh man, and they can't do the Will Riker holodeck thing because they already did that in that short trek.
Yeah.
But maybe they'll do it with something else.
What a shame. We need him in the background somewhere. He needs to appear in every show, and he hasn't done Discovery yet, even after directing a load of it.
So lame. Yeah. So lame.
Yeah. But I have nothing else to talk about with these episodes.
No.
I'm out.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Right then. Maybe. Jesus, we're even in a decent time as well, I would say, compared to what we normally are for talking about.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. We set ourselves stricter time limits. We should do that.
We should do that all the time.
Yeah, man. Yes.
Cool. In that case, it might be time for us to say goodbye. And,
yeah, man. Don't you say things about links, time codes?
Oh yeah.
Shit?
Well, I should have said time codes at the start. There's links all below to. I should have, but I didn't. There's links below for the Twitter, the Facebook, the whatever.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, go comment wherever you're seeing this. Comment.
Yes.
And other than that,
out loud.
Yeah,
out loud.
Just
say something.
Turn to the person closest to you, even if they live next door and you live alone.
Yeah.
Go round, leave your house, go to theirs.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, do that. Live long and prosper, you motherfuckers.
And peace and long life, double dumbasses.